This EV charger has a serious fault. I've just got a call from the customer to say that their EV charge point is melting, but there's a problem. This is the first EV charger I ever fitted at Artisan Electrics. I fitted this Rolex unit 7 years ago. So today we've sent Tom in to investigate what's going on.
So funnily enough, this is the exact same charger as I first installed as well back in the day. Now, it's a pretty standard untethered Rolex EV charger. They were sort of the first ones to come out really on the market. And what you got was basically a little 40 amp RCD in the top, untethered, dumb charging point with a little funky ticket machine display button on the front. So the rules and regulations over the years have changed slightly, and for the better, to be fair. We're no longer having to decide between type 1 and type 2. Everything's gone type 2 now, which is nice. There's a few other points that I'll highlight along the way, but the customer has said to us that, I think it was yesterday or the day before, she was charging up and she could smell burning. So we'll have a look inside, we'll see what the SP is. Let's get this old rubbish thing off the wall, shall we? There we go. Have some of that neutral. So the cover's off, you can smell it immediately. There's been a lot of arcing and burning, unfortunately, on the neutral, which goes to the outlet. That's pretty gone. I have actually come across this before. I was just talking with a customer about some of these that I fitted before for a business in Stalford, and I fitted 4 of them. And over the years, I've been back to replace the RCDs that have burnt out, and then also to replace the neutral cable on here, which is burnt out. So it's a pretty common thing, unfortunately. I think Jordan's been back here previously. Whether he done a video on it, I'm not too sure, to replace the RCD in here, which had burnt out. I mean, it's been on the wall for 7 years. It shouldn't really burn out because obviously it's very unsafe, but things have their time limits, and the newer technology inside the EV chargers are obviously preventative of this happening. So we'll just prove it safe first, and then we'll start ripping it off and getting it off the wall. So obviously the neutral's burnt out on this, and it is a factory part. It's obviously a flaw within when these products are built. I could guarantee you there's hundreds, thousands of people out there with Rolex chargers who would argue the toss with me and say that there's nothing wrong with their charger, etc., which is fine and that's cool. But just from what I've seen, and I can only talk through personal experience, there's always been an issue with them. So this is why I am quite careful, and I think as a company, Artisan are quite careful as well with regards to what we recommend, what we install. We want the products to be tried and tested. Yes, a lot of the products out there now have all got all the good tech, and they've all got integration, and they've got this and they've got that, but at the end of the day, if the product's failing, who cares about what tech it's got? You want it to work, and you want it to last a long time. So there's a little bit of research required by consumers, but then also for installers as well. Know the product that you're installing, be happy to have it on your own home as well, because there is a lot of rubbish out there. So we're installing a Zappi. Ooh, new sticker. We've actually got one of the new Zappis, which I'll talk to you about in a second. How has that not been changed? It is dead. Okay. How has many electricians been to this property and not recommended to that customer that that gets changed for a cable that's able to go outside? Because Twin and Earth is not able to go outside. And for all you installers who put it outside, who claim you're electricians, you're not. Anyway, back to the Zappi. This isn't a sponsored or anything video or whatever it may be, but I've just noticed the new product update sticker on the side, and I thought I'd just mention it to you. So before, you used to have 2 different types of Zappi. You had a 7 kilowatt and a 22 kilowatt. You had one for single phase, you had one for 3 phase. Now the Zappi is a multi-phase charger. So that means you buy the same one, whether you want to put it on single phase or you want to put it on 3 phase. I haven't seen inside it, but I'm assuming it's just got L1, L2, L3 neutral earth connection into it, and then the gubbins inside, or the brains inside, will detect whether it's on single phase or 3 phase. But we'll have a look. Give you free CTs now. You've seen it on videos before. Generally at Artisan, we only install Zappis and Hypervolts. And there's a reason for that. It's because we've installed so many of them, and we listen to obviously the customers that come back to us with faults, whether it's a new charger on the market that we've installed for them, they want to try the new tech, you know, the charger might be related to their battery brand or their inverter brand. And really it comes down to the products that we see that we install and then we don't hear from the customer. No news is good news, and it's them types of chargers that we want to install, and as installers you want to install, because you don't want to keep constantly hearing back from that customer that there's a fault with X, Y and Z, that you've got to come back to resync this, or there's been a software update and it's naffed the charger up. There was a recent video that we done where the customer had all Solar Edge inverters and batteries, and I saw one of the comments, why didn't you fit the Solar Edge charger? Well, we've fitted Solar Edge chargers before, I've fitted Solar Edge chargers before. In all honesty, I don't think they're great. So the recommendation isn't there from me to say to a customer confidently, have this charger, it's going to do everything that you want it to do and it's going to work seamlessly for 10, 12, 15 years. When I can't back that up, why would you buy a certain type of car if you don't have faith in it? You wouldn't. So why would we install a certain charger if we didn't have faith in it? So here's another one that I used to do, but generally don't anymore, was put a CT1 or sealant behind the EV chargers with the screw points for the fixings. But now a lot of the chargers are coming with these washers, which is supposed to be watertight. Cables are in, the Zappi's on, she's a little bit low, but I've got to make do with what the cable I've got is. So that's a reg that came out a while ago once we had screens, etc. put onto EV chargers, that they're being a certain height. Now I've seen Zappi's installed. I think Luke and I were at a job last week and the Zappi was up there. It was quite interesting. So we're going to start dressing this cable off, getting it into the Zappi, and I'll talk to you about this little bad boy as well. So the other difference now, as you can see from this, is Jordan would have installed an earth rod. This was before, and I've spoke about this on the Tesla video, PEM fault protection was included inside the EV chargers. PEN, protective earth neutral, so basically combining the neutral and earth conductor. Now what this is looking for is high voltage, low voltage between these conductors, and it will shut off all three conductors. This was something that they didn't have, the technology wasn't put into them, so we used to either put a PEM fault protective device in or an earth rod. Most common was an earth rod because PEM fault protective devices back then were really expensive and there wasn't really people doing them. Now there's a lot of different companies out there doing them, which I think will be obsolete soon because most of the EV chargers are now coming with them built in, and that's really all up the scale. So basically, because we've got an earth rod in place here, I'm going to still leave it connected to the installation. They're trying to move us more and more towards PMEs and actually installing earth rods. Although a few years ago they were telling us not to install earth rods, just to give that property just another means of earthing. I know obviously the earth path's going to be through this bit of 6mm back to the actual the origin of the installation, but it's better than nothing, and I'm not just going to leave an earth rod here disconnected. So I'm just going to get a ZS, and as you can notice, obviously, I'm using the original cable that was put in. Jordan installed this in 6mm 3-core armoured, which is fine, which is what we used to do. I suppose in the timeline along after that, we used to have 6mm armoured or MIYJ with data run alongside, and then old Donny came up with EV Ultra. Now this was a bit of a game changer, and they've also obviously moved on to create PV Ultra and the Powerwall Connect cable for when the Powerwall 2 was out. But the EV Ultra is a brilliant bit of cable. So now we've got EV Ultra, we can tell the chargers a lot more using the data. Now because this has already had cable run out to it, and I don't want to run another data cable back to it, the other reasoning why we went for Zappi, and I've mentioned this before, is because we can install a Harvey device to show this charger what the grid is doing, what the home is drawing, so then it can load balance the charge and not basically overblow the main fuse. Now this property I've just had a look has got a 60 amp main fuse, so we'll set that with inside the settings of the charger. Hypervolt, you've got a little dial that you can set on here. Zappi is all done by the control screen. And then what the charger then does is that knows what its limit is for the property. When you're giving it the ability to see what the home is drawing, it can then balance out what it's pulling to basically just not blow the fuse. That's the simple terms of it. While the Zappi is actually downloading its latest firmware, it's just sort of reminding me of another real feature of the chargers nowadays compared to the chargers of old. So the chargers of old were just dumb chargers. You plugged it in, you hit a button, it went go. You might have had some smart connectivity with regards to your car and an app. So obviously Tesla were quite big on that, and various other manufacturers. But now the chargers are smart. So all the chargers really are connected to the internet. So all the information that's logged on here will be stored on your account with regards to your charge rate, your energy usage and things like that, which is a really good way for people to start actually monitoring their energy use. But what it also gives you the ability to do with all these tariffs that are coming out is to schedule charges. So John Smith comes home, plugs his car in, charge is all scheduled to start at 1 o'clock in the morning when his cheap tariff is. You just have to leave it and the charger will figure it all out for itself. I know it seems like a very simple thing, but this is the ability that the chargers have nowadays. Now, this customer in particular isn't too concerned with that. She'd like the physical aspect of coming outside and pressing a button to initiate charge. That's fine, that's cool, we can still do that. But the technology is moving, and it's moving quickly with EV, with solar, with renewables, with batteries, with everything. And the fact that we can now sync up the entire house to work with each other is really cool and really clever. So with them being smart as well, the other thing is safety. So these chargers will all be running various tests in the background prior to starting to charge the car, during the car charge, at the shutdown of charging the car. And what they're doing is they're looking for any faults, they're looking for any discrepancies, whether it be with the car, whether it be with the charger, whether it be with the supply, and they've got the ability to shut down. Now, if you had a dumb charger on here, you could not know, especially if you scheduled it at night time, you wouldn't know that the charger had stopped. You'd wake up in the morning, you go and get some bagels from down the road, and you've got no charge in the car. What this can do now is alert you to that, to any faults, to any problems, to any issues. It can also log that information, so it could be a one-off instance, or if you do have a fault with the charger, you know, you've got the log of it there to present to the installer, to present to the supplier, the manufacturer, to get the issue sorted. So the charger's all swapped over now. We've got the Zappi on the wall. It's actually charging the customer's car. There's been some regulation changes. There's been a lot of updates with EVs over the years. I've probably missed out loads. So if you think of anything, chuck a comment in below. It wasn't intentional. It's just that I don't know everything. If you like this one, keep watching the other ones that we've got coming up.